Welcome to Get to Know Glasgow, the podcast that tells you what you need to know about student life at the University of Glasgow, from those who know it best. I'm Alice, an international officer here at the uni, and in this series I'll be chatting to 2 undergraduate and 3 postgraduate students about their Glasgow journeys.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Yassi.
I'm Shounak.
And I'm Serena. In each episode, we'll be sharing our experiences
and giving you our top tips
on everything from student jobs and budgeting
to making new friends.
So you'll know what it's really like to be part of Team UofG.
Let's get started.
Hi everyone, so today we're back and we're going to talk about everything about the campus. So what we wish we'd known about the campus, so that would be study spots, safety on campus and student unions as well. Shounak, do you want to start us off with your kind of favourite places on campus?
Yes, for sure. There are plenty of spaces in the University of Glasgow campus. The campus itself is so huge, but students mostly spend time in the JMS, which is the James Mackin Smith Learning Hub, and even the university's main library, which is the tallest structure in the campus and within that area. Most of the time I spend nowadays is in the library because of the main fact that the library is open till 2 a.m. And once you reach the library at around 7 or 8 a.m. during non-peak hours when there are less number of people, especially during exam times, you can find great deal of spots to select and choose one according to the view you like. And I personally go at around 9 or 10 p.m. in the evening and stay up with my friend till about 1 a.m. sometimes. So, and it's definitely important to carry some snacks because most of the cafes will be closed. But yeah, like library offers great deal of spots because they have spots on the second floor, third, fourth, and fifth. And especially on the fifth floor, you'll have the postgraduate study place, which is a good area, and you have separate pods as well inside the study space, so you can conduct meetings, for example. And in the JMS, if you want a good view along with the work you're doing, the JMS is a good spot because you actually get to see the university's main building, the Gilbert Scott building. Also, they have a balcony which you can get access to if you're lucky to during the open times. So it's a great spot as well.
Yeah, honestly, I wish someone prepared me for the sheer beauty of the campus. I was genuinely starstruck, even though I'm from Glasgow. My first day, I was like, this place is like some sort of fairy tale. The way it was like, everything was just so. The main building's gorgeous. I had a cousin from Melbourne who came and seen our family last month. I took her around the campus and she was like, "What the hell? This is absolutely crazy. This is something out of like Hogwarts." And I was like, "Yeah, well, it kind of is." Like, and the fact that we get to study here is pretty cool. Definitely a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's so beautiful, but is it busy? Yes, it's actually crazy. Like, one thing I didn't expect was how many people are actually on campus for me. So like when I came, I was like, oh, I'm going to be really productive. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually just spending an hour looking for somewhere to study before I discovered like the Macmillan reading room and stuff. But it is honestly such a beautiful campus. And I had, you always see like the TikToks and the videos of it, but it's like actually nothing compared to what it actually looks like in real life. Like I'm still starstruck to this day about it. And I've been here 3 years.
Yeah, I agree on that. I know how frustrating it is sometimes to look for spots, but actually, like, you can check on it on the UofG Life app before you like go into any other study space on the activity in that particular area. For example, the UofG Life app shows you the intensity of the number of people in that particular space, from moderate to high or low sometimes. So you can decide accordingly which spot you want to select as a study space.
I think to add to that point about the UofG Life app, it's a great app for many reasons. Obviously, you get your timetable on there, you get everything sort of all laid out for you on the app. You can also book a space. You can go on to book a room. It gives you all the options, capacity, how to find it, etc. So something that I use it today, for example. It's really good. If you're like me and you live in a totally mad house, to get out of the house and find a little quiet space, it's perfect. So I definitely recommend using the app for that.
Yeah, 100%. I've used it a few times for that when I have like group projects or stuff like that. I also think it's really good because they use it for a lot of, maybe if you're voting for like GUSA Council or things like that. It's been on there a few times. And I honestly use it to find my way around buildings because sometimes my lecture is in a building that I've never been to, and I use a little map, and it's honestly great because otherwise I would not be going to a lecture because I can't find it.
Yeah, the campus is always, I feel like it's always expanding, even being away the last year, coming back, there's always new things happening. And there's
Literally.
always new buildings and stuff. So I've got lectures this year, I'm like, where on earth is that? But thankfully the app's there to save me excited because I've no idea where I'm going.
I think that's it as well. Some of the buildings are so big, so you might have been to part of that building and then you think, oh wait, where is this actual classroom that I'm going to? And I'm 5 minutes away. So no, like stuff like that's really good. And in terms of like, you chatted about studying, but like how do you refuel when you're studying? Are there places where you can get like a coffee? You can see what's important to me. I'm always thinking about coffee and food. Is there good places, good spots on campus to get that or close by?
Totally. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, like the campus itself, you've got loads of places. Also on Byers Road, you've got at least like 30, 40 coffee shops at least, so you can probably work your way to them in your time in Glasgow. I'm still working through them, to be honest. Like some have shut down and reopened up or etc. So I'm still getting through them after 21 years. So hopefully I'll get some more this year ticked off the bucket list.
Yes, definitely. And I feel JMS is a great place to be in terms of accessibility if you're looking out for having food, because in JMS you have Tinderbox where you can grab a quick snack like a sandwich or even a small Diet Coke for that matter. And they even have a cafe where you can sit in and even bring your own food and eat over there. Apart from that, like outside GMS, there are other spots like Subway, you have the Iceland, and even some coffee shops nearby, ice cream shops. So accessibility from GMS is very, very convenient if you're looking for food items, like even for breakfast, lunch, and even dinner in some cases.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm quite guilty for almost every time I'm either in the office for my job or at a lecture. If I have a little break, I'll go into the QMU. And I don't know what the name of the restaurant is. It's like the one on the ground floor. Does anyone know the name of that? The
No, but I know what you mean. But
I know where
it's
you
top
are.
notch.
I know where you
Yeah.
are.
Oh, oh, it's my guilty pleasure. The chicken and oh, I can't. That is my place I go. I feel like I often lock myself in when I have like history of art exams. I'll sit in the library for about 6, 8 hours and just sit there and like prep and like do the exam. And in between, all I want is to go and get that, and then I come back and I feel like a new person after eating it. I'm like, this is great, and they're just so lovely as well. And they always have like special little size going on. I'm like, oh, what do I want today?
Also, a tip for students to bring credit cards, contactless credit cards, because in the university cafes, they won't accept cash. So that's a tip to keep in mind.
I hadn't realised that I use contactless so much just for
Yeah,
everything. I never have cash.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that is a really good tip.
Yeah, everything's referring to digital tech nowadays. So.
I know. And I know that obviously, Shounak, you're chatting about, I mean, obviously, it's study times. Everyone is different. You're studying quite late at night. My first thought when you're talking about studying late at night is like, do you feel safe on campus? Do you feel safe late at night, kind of being in the university library and kind of doing your study up until 1 a.m., as you were saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the University of Glasgow has given access to students to the Safe Zone app, and it's like a very, very helpful app. They have three key buttons once you log into the app, which are the first aid, inquiry, and emergency. So you click on any of those according to the situation you're facing. But I haven't faced any such situation up until now. But in case if any student faces a situation related to safety, they can definitely use the Safe Zone app. It's a good resource. But over the past few months and days, I feel that like even I can walk alone as long as I'm walking in a well lit area and I have my phone in my hand with the Safe Zone app reachable. So it's not a big issue in terms of safety.
No, totally. I think I was going to add to that as well. Like, I think what makes me feel unsafe usually is like dark spaces, but the campus is really, really well lit most of the time.
I agree. Like, I was just thinking about when it comes to like winter time and I'm either done with exams or I'm coming back from training and we have to park the bus like on main campus and you leave and you're like, whoa, it's so dark. But it's never actually that dark, whether it's the security guards in the house, like the little kind of gate yard house, or whether it's like any kind of maybe tourists or even students like walking around and going to study. And I'm like, oh, I like this. Like, I've never once felt unsafe after coming out of like a sports Wednesday because it's just so well lit and like everyone there is kind of aware, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The Safe Zone app is such a good thing to have because a lot of the time I think we're all like, oh, we'll never really need to use it, but it's always better to have it than not have it if we ever did need to use it.
Yeah, absolutely, Serena. And I think the Safe Zone app is really good in terms of, obviously there's the emergency button if you really need someone at that time, and I'm glad to hear no one's had to use it. But there is like the check-in feature as well. So if you are studying by yourself somewhere on campus, and and sometimes in the winter it's a bit darker, obviously from earlier on, you can check yourself in so the security team know that you're there, and then you check yourself out when you leave. So it's just a really nice way of making sure that you feel comfortable where you are and what you're doing when you study. And I suppose I should just touch on as well for international students, and Shounak, I know that you would have maybe had some experience of this. But the other the really good thing for international students is that that's actually how we monitor attendance. So in terms of you being over as an international student with your student visa, we do need to monitor attendance at classes. So the Safe Zone app is something that you will need to download when you're arriving here, because whenever you have a class on campus, so whether that's a lecture, it could be a lab or a tutorial, you will need to check in at the start of that class and check out. And every time that you're in a class, you need to be doing that. So that's the way that we can say we're monitoring your attendance and that you're coming to the university on your student visa as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The attendance policy at the University of Glasgow has slightly changed, where they previously used to sign student attendance on the sheet of paper. They do it now as well, but now like things have slightly changed with the Safe Zone app being used as a check-in point of mark as attendance for international students, especially if you are even in a workshop doing your laboratory project. You have to check in the app. For us it was once per week, so it was mandatory that we check at least once. So it sometimes tend to forget it, so I, as a class representative, I made sure that I put up a message on the group, so that everyone has checked in on the app and they have marked their attendance. But it's not a big deal if you even miss it, because you'll get a notification soon that you haven't checked in this week, so they remind you later that you have to check in again so that your attendance is marked. So I hope students follow that up, and the future class representatives make sure that all their classmates have checked in into the Safe Zone app.
You're keeping everyone right, Shounak, by reminding them as well. So that's really good work. I think we were kind of touching on kind of the size of the campus. It is a city campus. It's in the west end of Glasgow, but there have been quite a lot of changes in terms of buildings. We've got the really old kind of the our main building, the Gilbert Scott building. There's lots of really new buildings as well on campus. You've all kind of talked about JMS, so I think there's quite a different look around campus of the kind of merging of kind of the older buildings and the newer buildings. So I found it really, you've noticed in the last few years of the changes that are happening, but it's all still in that campus area. There's nothing too far away still.
Something that I love about the university itself, the university has really done a good job of keeping up to date. Some buildings are literally older than they're super, super old, and they're like 14th, 15th century buildings. So, but they've done a really good job of keeping it modern in terms of like those spaces that are so old are still fit for use, and also the new buildings are they're really, really cool in terms of like loads of space for like self-study, also big lecture halls, and also like you said, the campus is enormous. But the good thing is, with most of the new sort of lecture halls, most of them you enter at the back of the room, unlike some of the older ones at the boy door in particular. If you're coming from far away from another class or another lecture, you walk in late to the boy door, you're usually going to be at the very front, because then everyone's going to see you. So I always make sure, if I'm going to go to the boy door lecture and I'm going to be 5 minutes late, I just leave the one before that a bit early, because anywhere else is fine, but the boy door you tend to be in the very front. So if you're walking late, people are going to see you, and it's like a bit of a, I don't know, overstimulating sort of environment when you walk in and you've got like 100 faces all looking at you. Like, it's like, oh my god. So definitely, for my advice, if you have a boy door lecture, make sure you just don't be late to that one. But the rest of it will be fine, because the new stuff, the new buildings are all pretty much like sort of lecture platform / stage with this little, the little thing they use for their notes, and then you'll enter at the back of the room, so no one's going to see you or hear you. If you're quiet, no one's going to hear you as well. So definitely take that on board.
No, definitely. Like, I used to in first year have a lecture in the Boydor, and then I would have it in another lecture right after. And is it the St Andrews building?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's far away. Yeah.
The one.
Yeah, and they were like,
Street.
"Oh, you have 5 minutes to get there," and I was like, "Oh no!" So that was something which we actually told our class representatives. We're like, "Listen, this isn't it doesn't work well," and it was something that was changed, but. It was nice to actually kind of be down near that end, because I never usually am. I'm usually very much on main campus, whether it's like the Hetherington building or The Huntarium, I tend to have a lot of lectures in downstairs, but I always would advise, like, I think a lot of lecturers do leave 5 minutes at the beginning to start and then 5 minutes at the end to leave. So definitely utilize that. It will help in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many spaces in the University of Glasgow campus that I myself explored later on eventually as the months progressed. I even didn't know the laboratory existed where I currently work on the project I'm working on. So it's so diverse, and also there are there's one new building which is named the Adam Smith Business School. So they are renovating, I guess, the previous one, if I'm not wrong, and right now they have built a new ASBS school, which is right next to the ARC, Advanced Research Center building. So I had most of my lectures over there during the first semester, and it's well lit and a fully polished building which the university has made, and you get access to top notch classes, and even the staff at ASBS is very professional, and you'll get to learn a lot as a student if you have classes in ASBS, particularly for the business courses.
You're right. The buildings do look like they're pretty top notch. Like they're cool. You walk in, you're like it feels like fresh and brand new, and it's exciting because from my brief sort of strolls on campus in the last few weeks, there's more stuff getting built. So it'll be exciting to see what's also going to come in the next few years.
No, I definitely agree. I feel like this is so silly. I love Hogwarts, right? I love that vibe. But sometimes I'm like, I'm really happy to be in the JMS because there's no spiders. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, I absolutely love the campus overall. It's everything I want in a campus. But sometimes I really do like to be in more modern buildings depending on the Wi-Fi. I don't know if anyone else has this situation. I feel like the older buildings don't have that great of like a service or like connection. So for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm studying, if I'm doing anything, usually in like the JMS or the library. Love the reading room though. They seem to be really like the Wi-Fi is the best in there.
And the good thing is you get the options of all these places. So wherever floats your boat, if you're someone who likes, I like studying every day, sort of like stone, quiet, like silent place, or someone who want to do group work, or you want to work and sort of with your friends, but kind of have a chat at the same time.
Yeah.
You've got all these spaces available to you for whatever you want to do, whatever you want to use.
Yeah, I feel that the internet connectivity is blocked sometimes when you have too many people at a particular space. Because as I mentioned, when I go to the library at around 9 p.m., there are quite like not too many people at around that particular time, especially when it's an off-peak season where there are no exams going on. So at that point of time, you get like the best internet service ever. Which you'll experience because the internet speed is so fast that you get results in a matter of seconds.
It's all about kind of finding the right kind of study space, maybe how busy it is. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is holding out, depending on who else is there. But I suppose, guys, we've been talking so much about studying, and of course that's so important when you're at university. But what about the kind of spots maybe out with just study that you go to? Like, I know that we've got 2 university unions at the University of Glasgow, but maybe even other spots. Aaron, you might not want to give them away now when you're still in your final year. So we might have to come back for those like specific spots that you're maybe keeping as a hidden gem. But anywhere on campus for like anything further, just out with your studies as well.
For me, like again, I go out a lot in the evenings, but also the gym. The gym's great here. It can get busy, but honestly, it's a great facility. And yeah, right about the West End, you've got loads of good bars, and they are expensive bars. But if you go out like student nights from sort of, I think most of them are Sunday to Thursday student deals, you get some really, really good deals, and it's definitely worthwhile going out. And if you want to be smart with it too, you can go to your mate's flat, buy some booze, have some drinks, then go out. But yeah, my spare time tends to be occupied either sort of creating videos or having beer, and the gym sometimes, but a lot of beer. Definitely quite sociable. So
life is all about balance, Aaron.
Indeed.
Absolutely, and I feel students will also love exploring the Kelvin Grove Park right next to the university, and it's a great place to hang out with friends, especially when the sun's out. You can just carry your mats, carry some food, and just enjoy your time over there. Apart from that, I have like 2 food place spots. Can I take names? Am I allowed to take names?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I personally like Pepe's and the Habibis, which is a new store right in which has opened in Gibson Street. So they serve shawarma, wraps, and even rice bowls. So it's a great place to hang out with friends. Again, they have like great range of seating areas. And in Pepe's, I'll recommend everyone to try the chicken and rice because it's like the most sell product over there. So you can definitely enjoy eating food at such places.
That's been
No,
good for
yeah,
accent.
definitely.
I know, I'm going to take down, I've got a note to try the chicken and rice at Pepe's.
Yeah, no, 100%. No,
Just
I
don't go
agree.
for the extreme version. It's too spicy.
Yeah.
I think there's so many places for me because I am maybe not a big drinker, but I like going out, and I agree with Aaron. Student deals, oh, I love it. It fits into my budget. Ashton Lane, specifically vodka vodka.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the cocktails are the best. Like if my friends are celebrating anything or we're celebrating exams, that's where we go usually during the week because there's often deals on, which is just great. And it's honestly somewhere I've gone and studied actually a few times, which I don't know if that's sad or like productive. Like I don't know what I class as, but I really there. I also like the John Smith book shop, which I think a lot of people don't know about, especially new students. Like it is located in the Fraser Building, and it has not just obviously like your academic books that you need for your courses, but also like puzzles, normal books like fiction, non-fiction, crime, and also has Warhammer, which is like so niche, but it's actually amazing. I spend honestly an unholy amount of hours in that shop, and my bank account doesn't thank me because I go every week. But I think there and the gym as well. You always see me between the two places. I promise. I'm always there.
This is why I love doing this and finding out new spots that I have not heard of either. So like I did not know about the bookshop in the Fraser building. So I'll maybe see you there, Serena, next time on one
Probably.
of your weekly visits. And in terms of like the university unions, I know that like we've done other episodes kind of all about like student clubs, but anything like the two university unions we have, they can be quite different, I suppose. Like most universities might just have one student union, but ours are kind of targeted towards different things is what I would say. But any kind of like preferences, you don't need to pick a favourite, but where do you find yourself?
Honestly, hard to pick because they both offer such good things. I love QMU for like its gigs and stuff, and the venue's fantastic. My friend does a lot of like data writing, there's a lot of sort of performances in there. But also GAU is great. I'm very sporty as well, part of tennis society, so Wednesday sports nights are great fun in there. So I wouldn't say you have to choose. I recommend being like get your membership card, so it gets you like discount entry on Wednesday nights, for example. But yeah, definitely make the most of both of them because they both offer really cool things for each other, you know.
No, definitely. I definitely say I'm maybe more like a GUU person. I do like QMU a lot. I agree, like it's a great gig space. I love it so much. I think I'm a bit biased because in my mind, I don't know why, but I always class like the GUU as like the Guza like union. I don't know why, but my brain just always thinks that. Probably because Sports Wednesdays are there, and that's like the
Yeah,
only
me
time
too.
I'm ever really in the union. I haven't, to be honest, first year was this year going to Hive. Never been before since scarred, but it's great. Like it's a really good time. I also really like the food in there, which is something. It's a lot quieter food wise than QMU, I think. QMU is really good. Like they have obviously have loads of different restaurants and obviously like a little bar. Whereas we have like base bar, well, all that kind of stuff in the union, but they only have like a small little kitchen. So it's never as busy as the QMU. So sometimes when I just want to chill out and relax and I'm like, oh, I want like a toasty or something, that's my go-to spot.
Oh no, that's brilliant here. I think everyone like there's always different things going on. So as Aaron was saying, membership to both, you can't go wrong, and then you've kind of got everything covered that way as well. So I think what I would really want to know from all of you is kind of what you would finally think about what you'd wish you'd known about campus before you came to Glasgow. What would you want other students to know before arriving? Shounak, do you want to carry on?
Yeah, sure. So, firstly, I would have preferred if I had known more about the study spaces because most of the time I spent studying was either in my accommodation or spending time in the classroom after the lectures got over. But because it sometimes it becomes monotonous when you study in a similar environment, like for example in your accommodation. So if I was aware of the different kind of study spaces like on levels 5 and 6 beforehand in the library, that would have been like very beneficial for me. I would have explored the library and even the JMS for that matter quite a lot and would have access to much more study spaces.
Brilliant. What about you, Serena?
I would definitely say that I wish I'd known about kind of like the university app. like the UofG app, just so that I, for the first year, had not spent a lot of time running around like a headless chicken trying to find my lectures and then apologising because I was super late and having to deal with everyone look at me. So definitely that. I'd also say I wish I knew that there was a lot more kind of resources like the John Smith, for example, because I spent so much money on Amazon getting like my books and stuff in, where I could have just gone there, and they actually have the bundles usually made up for your courses and you get a student discount on them. So that is something I really wish I knew and really do recommend to any new students or continuing students to check out.
I wish I knew how much the uni has to offer, regardless of what your sort of skills or preferences are. There's just so much to get involved in, whether it's sport or like, journalism stuff or art stuff. There's literally so much happening. So my advice is just stay on like the university Instagram and the union Instagram. They always post what's happening, whether it's like vintage clothes sales or like, I don't know, discounted beers. It could be anything. So just keeping the loop with them. Honestly, yeah, just say yes to anything you can and then figure out how to do it later on. I think this university for anyone really is a time in your life where you can just go and explore things. If things go wrong, it doesn't really matter. You can go out and explore, say yes, be unaware of what's happening, and then later on you can figure out how to really do it. So get involved in it and go for it. That's my advice.
We hope this episode has been useful. If you're interested in finding out more, you'll find the links you need in the show notes. And you can visit glasgow.ac.uk/gettoknowglasgow. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.